Have you been considering making the move to Phoenix, Arizona, but you want to know what to expect when it comes to the bugs and the different types of animals that you're going to see around here? If that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and keep on watching. Welcome back to Phoenix Living. I'm Nicole Baker. Today we are going over exactly that, but before we get started, you know the drill. I have to let you guys know I'm a licensed realtor here in this beautiful state. So if you've been thinking about relocating, go ahead and reach out. My number and email are popping up. If you're not quite ready to reach out yet, no problem. Go ahead and subscribe because I post videos every Monday and Thursday at 5 p.m. all about the relocation process and what to expect depending on what city you are moving to in the Phoenix metro area. So like I said, go ahead and subscribe, but let's get started in today's video. There's lots of different animals that you can expect when making the move to the Phoenix metro area. I'm just gonna start off with some of the ones that really come to my mind. I'm definitely gonna be talking about rattlesnakes and scorpions at the end, so stick around for that portion of the video because that is one of the number one asked questions when it comes to what type of, I guess, pests and animals you can expect when moving and whether or not they're gonna be in the main areas of where the actual homes are, right? So that's super, super important, especially if you get freaked out by bugs. What I'm going to start with though is something a little bit easier to digest, right? So some of the smaller things that you can expect are going to be animals like roadrunners. If you guys have watched one of my videos, I think I did, it was the third video in the Goodyear series or the second video in the Goodyear series where I'm doing the drive around tour. There was literally a roadrunner, which are actually quite rare. It seems like I've lived here my entire life, besides the very short stint of a year and a half or so in Denver, and there was pretty much like I could probably count maybe 5 times that I've seen a roadrunner because they are really just like rare. And when I first moved back here, I literally saw like 2 or 3 right off the bat. It was crazy. It was so strange, and I don't know maybe the meaning behind roadrunners. Do they mean anything? Like, is there any sort of like background, like if you see one, this is what that means? You guys let me know down in the comments if you're into that kind of stuff. But point being is you will see roadrunners. They're not really anything crazy. They're just there and, you know, they live their lives. Nothing to worry about there. You can also expect to see lots of bunnies, lots of crows, lots of doves. There are pigeons here, and you know, that might sound like stupid duh to a lot of people, but as I moved to a different state and came back, I realized that not every state has a wide array of pigeons just living in the neighborhood. So you definitely want to expect that even in the suburbs. Obviously, it's going to be dependent on your neighborhood, right? Like for example, in my neighborhood, it seems like there's so many pigeons. I don't know what it is. It could also be because of solar. The pigeons love to sleep under your solar panels. I have solar and it didn't come with any sort of blockage or fencing that some of the solar that is here in Arizona you can get, right? So it didn't have any of that, and what the pigeons like to do is they like to go under there and they like to have all their nests under there, and then they lay eggs, and then they just swarm, right? So what I ended up having to do is get the whole solar panel underneath cleaned and then put the fencing up, because the solar or the pigeons can actually ruin your roof by, you know, doing droppings and stuff like that, and it just sits there because again it's covered by solar panels, so it's not able to rinse through, and anyways it ruins your roof. So if you do have solar, that's something that's really important to you guys. If you want more information about solar, you guys can always message me. I know that's always a big topic of discussion, and I'm always here to give as much information as I possibly can. Obviously solar could be dependent on location and all of these things, but it's kind of one of those things that a lot of people don't necessarily want to deal with because they don't have all the information that they would want. What is it? Ignorance is bliss. That's the word. So sometimes people just don't want to deal with it, but it's actually quite beneficial. I've had a couple clients tell me that they've never paid anything for AC during the summer, which is absolutely insane. I like to keep my AC cool. I don't know if my solar, it depends on how many panels you have and things like that, but anyways, this isn't a solar video. So like I said, comment down below. Let me know if you have questions about the solar, or message me and I will give you guys the answers that I can give for that. But back to the animals, right? So rabbits, you can expect quail. Quail are another little bird. The babies are so cute. Again, none of these are really like invasive. They don't get in the way. You will see mice as well. If you have a cat that's indoor outdoor, you can definitely expect them to bring them to your front door or inside your house even. My family has a doggy door and the cat goes in and out, and sometimes they find little mice, like little, what are they called? Like field mice. It's not like a rat or anything like that, but still kind of gross to think about. You're also going to see lots of lizards here. Again, nothing like that's that serious when it comes to animals and like something that you should really worry about. The rattlesnakes, scorpions, and my next one are things that you should actually kind of be worried about. Coyotes is another thing that there's definitely coyotes just walking around in the neighborhood. So you want to consider that like a lot when you're just leaving your pets outside. For example, if you do have an indoor outdoor cat, you might want to consider bringing your cat strictly indoors, or if you're, don't want to do that and it just is what it is, totally understand, whatever works for you and your family, I guess. I've had indoor and outdoor cats, and now I have just 2 indoor cats. But you also want to consider it even with your dogs, right? So like depending on the size of the dog, they definitely could be attacked. Even if it was a bigger dog, I'm sure they could probably be attacked by a coyote. You want to consider that for sure. Or even just letting, this might be extreme. I don't have kids, so I don't know exactly how this works, right? But like even letting your kids out, just like constantly. I mean, they do jump on top of the fencing here and they will walk the back line just to see what's kind of going on. More than anything, they're really out and about at night, but it's just something to keep in mind when it comes to that sort of situation. You also want to keep that in mind for hawks. There's a good amount of hawks in the area too. And of course, if you do have a smaller dog, I've heard horror stories of that. That's always something that you want to consider. And then I'm trying to think if there's any other animals before we get into the rattlesnake and scorpion conversation. We'll talk a little bit about insects. I don't think I've mentioned that besides obviously scorpions, that's an insect, but other insects that you can expect are really just like nothing too serious in my opinion. You'll definitely see a lot of these like little black water bugs is what I've always called them. I don't know exactly what they're called, but they do go into your house and they don't bite. They're just annoying and they're gross because they're bugs, right? So making sure that you spray will definitely protect your home when it comes to any pest. Also, you'll see grasshoppers. That's another thing that's just like gross and annoying. But if you spray consistently, you won't have any problems. I haven't really seen in any of my housing cockroaches, but that is definitely, not completely out of the question. If you are deathly afraid of cockroaches, you want to definitely consider that when you're looking for homes, because there can be cockroach infestations. That's something that and I'm just probably creating problems in your head that you didn't even think about. I've never thought about a cockroach infestation when I've purchased a home or have helped clients purchase homes. But if they do mention that they have roaches at that house in the seller disclosures, which is something that they would have to disclose, you guys can always decide to back out if that's the route that you want to take and not deal with the infestation, because cockroaches are basically impossible to kill is what I've heard. Never had to deal with it, but they are really, really hard to deal with and they can have lots of nests and things like that. Anyways, gross. Don't even really want to talk about that too much. What other insects? Oh, mosquitoes is another really important one to a lot of people. During the monsoon season, which you can probably expect late summer, just depending on the year, it's probably rained, I don't know, for maybe 3 times for like 15 minutes max this year during the monsoon season. Last year it was a little bit late. I'm expecting it to be a little bit late this year. Hopefully we can start getting some rain here. We desperately need it. At least I need it for my mental sanity. If you love sunshine, you will absolutely love this state. It is perfect for you because it is sunny, like I say, 360 days out of the year. I'm probably being dramatic, but that's what it really feels like to me. It's pretty much always bright, sunny, not even cloudy half the time. It is literally no cloud in the sky, sun shining out no matter what time of the year it is. During monsoon season, typically it's going to be a little bit later at night, and we just haven't seen anything like that. So point of all that is that mosquitoes obviously are going to come with more humid weather. We are a super, super dry state. If you're looking for a dry climate, Arizona is definitely the place for you because we are dry. So you're not gonna have to deal with mosquitoes as much as maybe you would probably have to deal with them in Florida, right? Or somewhere like near San Diego or things like that. I've just never really had a huge problem with that. So just consider that when making the move. If mosquitoes are like your mortal enemy, you might want to get one of those little candles that you can put outside. Again, maybe I just don't have the blood type that they love, because I think they say that they like sweet blood. I'm not sweet at all. I'm not joking. I'm just messing with you guys. I'm sweet. So anyways, let's talk about scorpions now and rattlesnakes. Scorpions are a huge topic of discussion majority of the time when it comes to people making the move to Phoenix, Arizona. It is one of my probably most asked questions when it comes to like bugs and stuff like that. Also, before we get into scorpions, I lied. One more thing, spiders. In my humble opinion, there's not that many spiders. I've barely ever seen a spider in my house. When I did move to Denver, there's a lot of spiders there. I don't know what it is, and I never knew that before moving there, but I have PTSD from all the spiders that were there. So I'll just like be walking around now and I'll think I see a spider, but it's really just like, I don't know, a piece of trash or a shadow or something like that. But I'm seriously so psycho about that. So I definitely want to mention there's not really that many spiders, thank the Lord. And if they are, I've really only noticed them outside, or daddy long legs, which are not really, I've never seen a spider at my house personally. Maybe like those little tiny baby ones, like super small, where I could just smash it real quick. I'm not too scared of those ones, but the big ones, oh, they freak me out. That's like my number one trigger. But now scorpions, the thing that you guys have all been waiting on, right? Let me start off with saying it's not as bad as you might think as not being a native, right? There are going to be some areas throughout the valley that are going to deal with bugs and animal life a little bit different than others, right? So like, for example, for me, I live in the valley, not close to the mountains, not close to anything crazy like that. Like, and when I say close, I mean like my backyard's not a mountain, right? Like I'm definitely in the flat part of the Phoenix metro area. So I don't really notice tons and tons of wildlife. Granted, some of those things that I did mention before, you're going to definitely see. It's just not as drastic, I would say, when it comes to like the scorpions and the rattlesnakes as it would be when you're closer to the mountain. Hopefully that makes sense. Scorpions are disgusting, they're creepy, they're crawly, and no one wants them. I personally have never had one in my home, in the home that I'm living in right now. My parents have had scorpions in their houses before. It is more rare. We've moved a million times, it feels like. I love moving, but before I turned 18, I probably moved at least 10 to 12 times. I kind of lost count. And I would say there's only been one house that was seriously had a scorpion issue. This also comes into play when it comes to the seller disclosures. If the seller knows that they have a scorpion problem, they will put scorpions on there. And just because they put scorpions on there, which most people have seen a scorpion in or around their area, doesn't mean they have scorpions in their house, right? That house was a rarity, I would say. If we put the proper bug stuff around the house, I would say the scorpions would have probably gone away, but we had dogs and my dad didn't want the dogs to get sick, you know, because poison, whatever. So depending on your family, it might make sense for you to put the poison around the house every, you know, couple days. I don't know how it, not couple days, every so often, and keep your dog in for a few days if that makes sense for you and your family. Really what it comes down to when it comes to the scorpions is really making sure that you are doing the proper maintenance for your home, and that includes spraying for bugs. So you either want to do it yourself or you want to have a professional come out. Scorpions are a little bit harder to kill from what I've heard. So I would personally have a little professional person come out and do whatever they do to get rid of these bugs. But I wouldn't say something like it's something that you really need to be worried about. And also they're not just like, I mean, never say never. Chances of you just seeing one out on the concrete is not gonna happen unless it's dead and it got ran over or something like that. I've never just seen a scorpion like chilling. I don't know. You guys can tell me if you're from Arizona. Some people that are from Arizona watch my videos. You guys can let me know if you've lived in Arizona before. What's your guys' experience with that? I would love to know. Like I said, I think that if you're up towards the mountains, you're definitely going to experience a lot more bugs and a lot more animal life than me personally. As long as they're not in my house, that's really all I care about. You guys let me know. Next thing is the rattlesnakes. Another really big one. There is a chance for a rattlesnake no matter where you live, right? In the Phoenix metro area. You could see one. I could see one in my backyard tomorrow. Would I be super stressed out about it and worried? I mean, I would be happy that I found it, because if it bites your dog could die. But I've never seen a rattlesnake at my home or any of my houses that I've lived in throughout the West Valley. Granted, like I said, if you're up in Estrella Mountain, for example, you're probably gonna see a rattlesnake more likely than I would, right? Or if you are out in South Mountain, or you're up in Vistancia, these areas where you're going to be closer to the mountains, like the mountains are literally your backyard, you're going to see more rattlesnakes. Just be aware, just be visual of your surroundings. There are companies that come out and can pick up the rattlesnakes, remove them, and put them into a better spot so they're not in your yard, but that is also something that needs to be disclosed when it comes to the seller disclosures. So hopefully, if the people are honest, of course, they will put that on there. Again, I've never said I'm not gonna buy a home because there was a rattlesnake found in the backyard. That's just not who I am. You guys will have to let me know if the snakes are a no-go. There are other types of snakes, like gopher snakes or just things like that, but I've never seen one. I've never seen one in my backyard. Me and my family are kind of into, like, not necessarily the camping, but like hunting or just doing like outdoor activities, right? So I remember one time we got like a pool stick, like that you clean the pool with, and we took the net off of one side and then we put a string through it, and then we went rattlesnake hunting. Of course, we never killed any snakes or anything like that, but basically it was like you pulled the string and it captured them, and then we just looked at them and then we just let them go. One time I caught a sidewinder. This was all like 30-40 minutes away from my house, and it's in the mountains. So the White Tank Mountains, those are the places you're going to see them. If you do enjoy hiking, if you enjoy bringing your dog hiking, that's something that you definitely want to be aware of when it comes to taking your pets anywhere, is obviously rattlesnakes. I think that's going to be known for no matter where you live, that there could be potential wildlife situations because you're in the wild, right? That could potentially harm you or your dog. So just keep all of these in mind when it comes to the wildlife. Hopefully I mentioned all of the wildlife things. I know there's probably more things that I didn't mention, but those are the major ones that I would say you're probably going to see. Sometimes you'll see a bobcat, sometimes you'll see deer. That's really, really far and few in between. I've never seen a bobcat. I've never seen a deer in the Phoenix metro area, but I have seen pictures of people that do post that kind of stuff. So if you're looking for that, again, those are going to be things that are going to be closer to the mountains and or on a golf course or something like that, where you're going to see like the bobcats, because that's usually where they're hanging out. Wherever they can get the bunnies, that's where they're going. So anyways, hopefully this video was informative on what you can expect when it comes to like the wildlife, the bugs, the pests, all of that stuff. And if it was, pretty please hit the thumbs up button. It really helps out my channel. And if you guys have questions about relocating, here are my number and email are popping up. I would love to assist you guys. And go ahead and subscribe, because I post videos every Monday and Thursday at 5 p.m. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.